Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm gonna overview of the different components that go into master grading. I'm like in the transition phase. Let me give you an overview of like what to expect from master grading. One is the assignments are going to be pass or fail. So you have a bar that you're going to set for each assignment. Get at least 80% of the whatever the rubric items are to pass this assignment, or you have to revise it. And so that's like the big takeaway, I guess, about master grading is that you have this pass-fail kind of system. And because you have a pass-fail, in order for students to make up the difference, you need to have them be able to revise and resubmit. Now, with that, might sound like there's a lot of grading. And so people have used this token system to kind of like create like a little mini economy that students can't resubmit everything. They have a limited budget as to what they can revise and resubmit. So in my class, what I'm doing is I'm giving them 7 for the whole semester. The revisions apply to not just homework assignments, but also they can apply to project submissions or midterms or quizzes. For example, for me, if you want to revise a midterm, I only let them revise portions of a midterms, and those cost a little bit more. I make it be 2 tokens for an exam resubmission versus 1 for like a homework assignment. For example, for this pass or fail, that's like the easiest example of or implementation of specification or master grading, as I also call it. But there's other individuals that split it up into like a tertiary, so like you get a minimum or like a revision, low pass, and a high pass. So for example, if you didn't have that many assignments, you might want to have this 3-level system. Others have like a 4-level system that they implement for different aspects of the assignment. Yeah, I'll discuss what I mean by these levels and what it really gets you to think about what does a C in your class mean? What does a B in your class mean? And I think in the next slides, maybe I'll answer those questions.
Why is it even important to have this binary pass, no pass kind of concept? I think the token idea can apply perfectly well. If a student got a B already, but the student want to get to A, so they use the token, improve their grade from B to A. So why is this token is important in this whole scheme?
So the token has 2 purposes that I enjoy. One, it can allow you to incorporate things in your class that you normally wouldn't. For example, you can incentivize students to learn about like things like the Pomodoro technique or to things that aren't really related to the subject, but maybe help them in their learning, or other outside assignments that, for example, have a reflective assignment halfway through the semester of what are you doing well, what are you not doing well, and kind of have them reflect on what they can improve on kind of thing. So, those aren't usually things that we would ask students to do, but you can ask them to do it with this. But 2, mostly you use the token system to kind of like help ease the grading amount, right? It's kind of like, you can use the tokens to kind of go from an A to a B, but it's mostly you're trying to get them to master the subject, right? I think we have to all be honest with ourselves with the fact that when students leave our classrooms, they're not going to know everything that we taught them, right? There's some level, and that's what we hope that the grades are coming out with. Like a C level means you mastered this amount of stuff, and a B is this amount. And maybe once I go through the actual other content, maybe that makes it a little more clear. Also, Morris may have some other different angle to show this from.
So why doesn't this whole idea you just described will not work unless we have this binary pass-fail? This is this threshold concept. We don't need this threshold concept, right? Everything you said is still true.
So you can implement this in pieces, right? Like, for example, I have a revise and resubmit already, and I still have traditional grades and everything. That's like one of the first components that you can have in your classroom without implementing all the other components of this. So one of the first things that you have to deal with is buy-in, and buy-in can be from your instructors, from your colleagues, and by instructors, I mean TAs, from your TAs, from your students. And so that's something that you'll have to think about, whether like, why are you switching to this different system? Why is it helpful for them? And so that's one thing to consider. And when I said full or partial conversion, the partial meant with regards to how I just mentioned, you can have some of these aspects in your classroom without completely converting your class, which I think is the easiest and more straightforward way to do it, is do this incrementally over time. And so one of the hardest thing about, I think, mastery grading is going to be this grade bundling. And so this is where you look at what the objectives for your class are, how your assignments, quizzes, and homework assignments map to those objectives. And you kind of outline, what does it mean for a student to have a C? What types of assignments do they need to master or complete and fully grasp? Are there any like core concepts that you need for everybody? If you want to pass this class, no matter what, you have to at least master these basic concepts, and how you're actually evaluating that with your assignments. And I'll show you some examples of what that actually looks like in a class in the next slides. The next aspect is, because you have pass or fail, let's say, as the simplest implementation, you need to have students be able to make up the difference by revising and resubmitting work. And what you're trying to incentivize them is that, it's not all or nothing. You need to, you want them to learn, right? So then by having an ability to reattempt the assignment, they have time to go back to the subject matter and try to learn it. And then again, the token economy is just a way to add in things into your classroom that you normally wouldn't ask them to do, because you can have them earn the tokens. You don't have to just give them the tokens. What I do in my classes, I have them earn the tokens by doing these small outside assignments that I think are useful for them to know, but that normally I wouldn't be assessing on or having them do assignments on. And then two, it helps cut down the workload for certain assignments that might be taking longer to regrade. One aspect that a lot of instructors have is about these revise and resubmission, whether it's going to add too much work. But because you have this binary system, it's a lot easier to see an assignment and see whether they're going to pass the threshold or not. And so the grading is not as difficult as it might seem, because you're revising and resubmitting work. You can also set threshold as then, you don't want to get all the revise and resubmits at the end of the semester. So, you have a week or 2 weeks after the submission deadline, or you get the grade back before, within which you need to revise or resubmit. So then that way you can't wait till the end of the semester. And then the last aspect that I have of this specification grading is this threshold that Ping, you discussed about. And that's like, what is the minimum level for a given assignment that you expect a pass to be at? You have to consider, for a given assignment, how would you design it such that you have, let's say, 5 rubric items for this assignment. And in order for you to have a pass, you need to, have maybe 4 rubric items as being, yes, they passed these 4 rubric items, and that's a pass. Or you can, change that to be 3 of the 5, or, whatever amount of rubric items you already have for your assignments. What do you expect to, for that to be the passing threshold of that assignment? And then the last thing I was just going to show is just the bundling. Some examples. I think a simpler one would be, what does it mean for, like, let's say a C in this class? It might be that you need to earn a passing on 11 quizzes and earn a passing on the project report and the presentation. And then, as you go up in the letter grades, you have to have more passing grades on these individual components of your class. And that is what makes up your grade. And now this is one way that you can organize how students pass your class. Another way is, if you have more ways of assessing things, might be you have these quizzes, and to earn a passing on these quizzes, they have a 4 different measures of passing, I guess. But as you can see here, they have quizzes, and if you want to earn, let's say, a C, you need to have a passing in 18 learning targets. You don't need to pass any of the quizzes to get a C in this case. For the project, you need to have, an E or an M on the report, but now no presentation required. So it also gives students an agency over their grades. They know that in order for them to pass this class with a B, they need to pass this number of assignments for each of these different categories that maybe you have a lot of questions now. So I'll stop and answer a couple. Then Morris, you can share your screen. Go ahead, Shalipa.
Hi. Yeah. So my question was more related to how many courses have you tried this and what the feedback from the students have been?
So, like I mentioned, I am in the transition phase. So I'm going to fully convert next semester. And right now, what I'm trying is I have the token system. So where I give them tokens where they can revise and resubmit different aspects of my class. And for my class, it's anything. They can resummarize things from the midterm, from projects, from the homework. And I think the hardest part is getting to understand that they can do that. Like I think that's right now it's been a foreign concept for them. So yeah, right now that's my starting point. I just learned about this. Next semester, I'll fully have all these different things combined.
Any preliminary feedback from the students? Like, do they like it? Do they don't like it? What aspect of it they don't?
For the revisions, they like it because they know that they have a second try at it. It's not just all or nothing. They do it once and that's it. They're done. But yeah, it's kind of early in the process, I guess. Excel, you had a question?
Yes, please. I just want to ask if there is any penalty for like multiple revision, because let's play this scenario. If I'm a student and I know for every assignment I will have another chance to buy time. I can slack off for the first attempt, and then I know the second one I'll be doing well. So if you have some recurrent situation like that, specific student, first time they don't do well, second time you see that pattern. So what will you do? Will you put any penalty to make sure they try hard at the first attempt?
I would respond with that with saying, like, does it matter in a sense of if they're learning and they're getting past the threshold? Like, does it matter that they did it well on the first time? It could be that on the first try, they had some stuff going on at home and they couldn't put the time into it, right? And then two, mostly I think it's for me, the token aspect is that there's a limited resource that they can revise and resubmit. You could make it for some things like, you have a low stakes quiz that takes like, 2% of the quiz, of the grade that, yeah, you can revise and resubmit as many times as you want. It's automatically graded, so it's not adding any more effort for me. But yeah, I would say it's not too important whether they try hard on the first try or the second. If they meet the threshold, then that means for me that they're learning, right? So, and that's the way I see it is that that's what we really care about is, are they actually learning and are they mastering these different aspects of your class? Yeah.
Thank you.